Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 581 of the DrunkNerds podcast. As always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'll tell you what, I'm feeling fairly fantastic. Went through the whole entire thing of Extra Life yesterday alongside you and the other members of the talking ship. It was a interesting day to say the least.
Yep.
But yeah, this whole day was more like a recovering process, obviously, because it's like I got about maybe around 6 hours of sleep, and then on top of that, just trying to continue on today. I mean, yeah, the body's just out of sync right now, but it's gonna take like at least about a day or two just to get me back going.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you,
I'm about to
Tyler?
say, man, I'm sure it definitely doesn't help also that, it's on during daylight savings times, which in some cases it's better because hey, you got an extra hour to recover. And it's like in some ways you can argue it's the best day of the year to do this because of that. The other ways it's harder because on the body because we're already recovering from extra life. Then we got to recover from the clocks changing and I I like you were at like 6 o'clock, 6:30 tonight. I was like, man, if it's like what's it? It's gotta be like 9 o'clock. I'm watching the fucking 3:30 kickoff games. 3:30 my time. The afternoon kickoff games. I guess for people not in the central time zone. Um, and I'm like, man, like it's got like it's gotta be like 9:30. It's about time for go to bed. And I'm like, fuck, it is like what? It's 6 o'clock. Like I've been like I'm all fucked up, Gables. I took 2 showers within an hour of each other today. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Uh,
2 showers within an
yeah,
hour,
I was in this. I'm
dude.
like, oh, I need to go take a shower. And I was in the shower and I was washing my hair. I'm like, man, why is my hair like really dry? Like, cause like not not like super duper dry, but I'm like, you usually you get the day of sweat and all that, and like it's a little grease to it. And I'm like, I was just in here. I went to go I went to go grab my towel. And I'm like, it's still wet. I'm like, I was just in here. Like, what am I doing? Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now.
Oh my God, I agree with you 100%, dude. I mean, I'm kind of like feeling like the same thing. Yesterday, I think we got some good groceries. I got this other stuff, and my mom decides to get a whole like thing of like avocado, like mayonnaise,
Mm,
stuff like that. And
I hate all of those
thing
words.
about that is, she tells me go through and like just put it inside the utility room and this and that. I check in this morning and stuff because I need to get something out of that freezer and stuff. And I had put that avocado mayonnaise inside of the freezer, and I'm like, where the fuck? Where did this come
Yeah,
from? So I took it out. I put like a wash rag or something underneath. I just put it on the sit on the shelf right there. I'm like, well,
still good.
it's still good.
Unfortunately, you should probably just burn it, but that's what I do. It's witchcraft over there. Uh, Other than that, though, yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, like I went over to my parents' house today. I have my one of my new amiibos. I got for video listeners here. I got the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom amiibo there. My Ganondorf one got delayed a couple weeks, unfortunately, but I went and picked it up today, and I was just trying to talk to them. And I live by myself. It's just me and my dog, so I don't really have full on cover. I have conversations with my dog, but not like full on. Like he doesn't talk back, and it's very one sided. But I was just trying to have a conversation with my parents, and it just was not going well for me. Like words were like not forming the way I wanted to. So this episode might be a little rough, rougher than usual because it's a little late. It's like 11:15 my time, and also Gables and I, if you don't know, we participated in Extra Life yesterday. I guess we should probably mention that. We
Yeah.
played games for 24 straight hours for charity. The Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. If you're interested, extra-life.org. But we do that every year. This is my 12th. This is Gable's 11th. And we did that yesterday. So we are like I said, we are recovering from that. About to mention at the top, but overall went really really well. I think. Actually,
Yes.
before we get into that, sorry, Gables. This we do this every week, Gables and I. Drunk Tester Podcast. I'm Tyler. That's Gables. We record every week. We're just two guys do this for fun. So if you were listening or watching, please like, follow, subscribe. If you go any podcast app, you can search for us, Drunk Nerds, Drunk Testers. You'll find us. Same thing on YouTube. Please go to all those places. Share it with your friends. Tell people about that. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, all those places. So anything you do, we really appreciate it if you did that for us. Be really appreciated. But yeah, Gables and I participated in Extra Life yesterday. Played for 24 straight hours. Overall, though, Gables, I thought we kind of talked about it at the end there, before we wrapped up on during Actual Life, Gables and I we just sit in a party chat all day and just kind of keep each other company, talk to each other, play some games together, and mostly just kind of keep each other company while we do other shit, and so we don't
Right.
fall asleep and just have someone to talk to. We were kind of talking about it at the end there. I started at 2 a.m. my time. You started at midnight your time, or yeah, midnight your
Yep.
time, which is the same time for us because I'm 2 hours ahead of you.
Yep.
And we are kind of talking about, I'm like, man, like that was like easily the easiest extra life we've ever had. I think for both of
Yeah.
us, the time flew by for me. Like there was definitely parts where I was struggling. I was getting a little tired, but like uh, I did not like I wasn't at any point like fighting to like I wasn't like doing the head bob thing. I wasn't like struggling to at all. Like I wasn't just like, man, I can just go fucking take a nap right now. Like all I want to do is like close my eyes. But I was like, we got done, and I was like, it wasn't like I wanted to keep going, but I could have kept going probably for a couple more hours and probably been fine. What about you, Gables?
Honestly, that kind of felt the same way. I mean, I'm not too sure if it's just my body kind of getting used to the whole aspect of being like up from that duration, from like the whole midnight to midnight. And it's like what I was telling you though. It's like when you start out from midnight and all of a sudden you just go all the way until like the daylight starts going up. It just feels like it's like a natural sort of thing. It's like for example, I go to sleep like around 7 something, wake up around midnight, progressively until then the body is getting used to the whole aspect of you being up like around midnight. Then once 6 o'clock hits, and then all of a sudden it goes to 7 and 8 a.m. and stuff and lights up. What I'm saying is, this type of styling that we were doing, it was more akin to like say kind of matching like say the body
Yeah, we
sort of like
weren't destroying
rhythmic
our sleep schedules.
rhythmic stuff. We weren't destroying our sleep schedules because we were going to bed in our usual sort
Yeah.
of
Well,
times.
I'm usually in bed well before 2 a.m., but like it doesn't like
Yes,
it's easier to
yes.
recover. And plus on Saturday night, I'm usually up till 1 or 2 doing the podcast anyway, so it wasn't like a
Yep.
huge difference for me. But yeah, like we talk about like on like the last month or so, it's like, or last week especially when we're talking about plans stuff like that for extra life, where I used to and you used to, uh, I would just wake up when I woke up on game day, and that's when I'd start, whether it was 7 a.m. or
Yep.
8 a.m. or 9 a.m., whatever. I just got and played, and like it was hard because like I mean the hard part obviously is staying up that long, but like just staying up, it's just your body clock on top of that, but like staying up
Mhm.
overnight and like one seeing the clock go back an hour because it's always on daylight saving time that hurts, but then to like watch the sun come back up and then like try to go to sleep immediately afterwards, like you're exhausted, you're gonna sleep, but like I always got like junk sleep during that, like I'd only sleep for a couple hours and then like you're in just a fugue state for the rest of the day, and like I've always thought about like that Sunday is a wasted day. And you started doing this a few years before that, but I started doing it, I think this is my third year of doing it, and like I just found that like yeah, I'm not getting a full night's sleep, like but like planning it out especially helps because like I basically went home, I got home from work, I got off work, just went to the store real fast, grabbed some stuff for the day to get through the game day, and then took a shower, ate dinner, went right to bed, and I got like 5 hours of sleep. Not great amount of sleep, but honestly not a lot less than I normally get. And then yeah, like got a decent amount of sleep and just was able to go through and then go back to sleep, and then like woke up at like 7:15 this morning, got about 6 hours because the clocks went back an hour, so I gained an hour on that.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, like I mean, I'm definitely been in a weird spot, and I've talked about today, but like I was able to function. I was able to like make dinner, play
Yeah,
some games. I just I took like an hour nap watching football. Other than that, like it was kind of like a normal day. It wasn't completely fucked up. So
dude. What was kind of funny? It was when I woke up this morning. It was by my dog, kind of barking, like, "Hey, hey, stop sleeping! Get me on my
yeah,
bed. I want to go potty. I want to
yeah,
do
he
this."
doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck about daylight saving time.
Because at that point it was like around 8 a.m. anyway, after the whole daylight savings time thing and stuff, and he's so used to being out like a couple of hours before then. So
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, oh, I guess we can get into our game day overall. Like I said, we started. I
mm,
started at 2. Gable started at midnight, but same time for us,
mm,
together. Um, but yeah, like like we talking about, like it flew by. And I think a lot of that is like we this year and last year have definitely been a lot easier. A, because of the time, doing the times we start, but also I feel like the last 2 years I've been really lucky for me because like last year I had I had Mario Rabbids to play. I finished that up, and then like I had like Bayonetta, and that was like pretty much my entire. I pretty much took up like the bulk of my 24 hours. And this
Mm-hmm.
time around, like I talk about like I've been like I've been playing Super Mario Wonder and Spider Man, but I've like purposely been holding back on playing them, trying to save them for extra life. And I was really concerned, like,
Yep.
oh, I'm like, oh man, I might fly through Spider Man like 5 or 6 hours, because the game's so goddamn good. I kept playing it, but I'm like, I need to stop playing it so much. Uh, it ended up taking me like way longer than I thought because I was platinum in the game. I was doing everything. I'm like, I love the game. So I wasn't doing it to get the platinum. I was doing because I love this game. I did all the side missions, everything like that. And I going into the day, the game set has like 68% complete. And it ended up taking me probably about 10ish out, probably about 10 hours, give or take, of the day was on Spider-Man 2, and I finally platinumed it.
Wow.
Um, like with like an hour left on of the game day. Super Mario Wonder, like we jumped in, we played some levels together.
Yeah.
It was funny enough, we were like at the exact same position, like didn't realize it, but we were both on World 4 with 11 of the Wonder Seeds. At the
Mm-hmm.
and then like I ended up playing that. I played like that probably took up a good 4 or 5 hours up to like before I did finally I beat World 4, 5, 6, and then did the Bowser World, and I ended up finishing that off. That game was incredible. Um, yeah, it definitely was like, I guess for me like my ADHD brain just having these games where I can just like focus on like these side quests that I was really enjoying on top of it, and a great game on everything like that. But like just be able to hyper focus on these, like, all right, cool, I have tasks, know what to do, and it wasn't just like me playing games to like kill time. Like there's definitely been like cases in past years where it's like I'm just playing this game because I gotta play games. I'm playing games for 24 hours. But I'm not really like I'm just doing these mindless tasks that aren't really I'm not really enjoying all that much,
Yeah.
because I'm like this is what I'm doing games for. I'm playing games for 24 hours. And it like definitely helps the last 2 years. I'm like I'm really liking these games, and I want to play them, and I'm just playing the games. I'm just marathoning these games instead of like force myself to play games. Wow. Overall, I mean, how's your day flow?
It flowed fairly quickly. I started off my day by I decided to play like about a match or some AEW Fight Forever and stuff while we're first starting to talk and stuff, and then I switched it over to Resident Evil 4 remake. Man, Resident Evil 4 remake. I only finished the first chapter like earlier on this year and stuff, and I purposely kind of left that in the back burner and stuff because of how much of a glut of fantastic games we've had released this year. So I got back to it, and man, I'll tell you what, I finished. Gotten all the way up to about chapter 4. There was a lot of things that I wanted to try to look and kind of search around in some of the various levels, like see what I remembered from that early portion of the game. Which, bear in mind, I think the furthest I ever gotten in the original Resident Evil 4 was maybe like past chapter 5, I want to say. But the gameplay itself, it's still fantastic. It's definitely better than, like, say, the original in that aspect of it. I will say that it's kind of funny how they keep the traditional sort of the save type of feature and stuff by just having save at the
Yeah.
typewriters and stuff. Which, you know what, it's fine. It's better than finding ink ribbons and stuff and having to
Yes.
do your
Yes.
saves. I mean, almost anything's better than that. I mean, it made sense for the older Resident Evil games because they were more survival horror style of games, and that kind of added to that stress factor for the survival horror
And the
games
game
from that time
and the game
period.
does have auto saves on top of it too, so that helps.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that about the autosaves for like RE4 remake, but other than that, though, encountered the merchant for the first time, did a whole couple of different things like with the merchant, end up trying some bit of his mini games that he has inside of one of the sections
Yeah.
before you cross that lake and stuff before you go into that whole Del Lagos battle and stuff. And I gotta say though, I thought it was pretty hilarious because the first thing I enter in and stuff, I see this elevator around this. Like, there's a freaking there's a freaking elevator that over here. So I ignored it for the good portion of it, and then I go back to it. I start doing some of the mini games. Oh, I'm earning tokens to put in this machine in order to try to get these little charms for my suitcase. I'm like, well, this is definitely a Capcom thing
Yeah.
here. These odd quirks and stuff. I kind of like that though. But I went through an S ranked the first two. I think I tried the third one. I decided to like stop after trying the third one like a couple different times and stuff because I wanted to focus more upon the gameplay of what I was doing next. There was this one section, I think around there's one section that when you first initially go past, I think it was right before you get to like the church. Oh yeah, on the way to going to like the church and stuff. There was this one particular section I'm trying to remember off the cuff here. You have to get that emblem and stuff to try to put into that door so you can advance
Yeah.
onto.
Yeah.
You have when you go and meet the merchant for the first time, there's this rifle that you can use with a scope. It's a specialty because the game has a thing where inside of a chapter where this weapon is going to be used predominantly, they have it for cheap. So that way you can pick it up with the currency you got going, and then you can use that throughout that chapter if you choose to. I didn't think about that from the time being because I just wanted to focus upon the main pistol and do this and that. I had to admit, I was having a tough time going through this section because I have so much of I wanted to do a stealth like approach. However, every time I tried to do a stealth like approach, I'd get noticed by one of the villagers. And man, there was so many different villagers that were coming out of the woodworks and stuff, including a dude with a friggin' like oh, I'm thinking of another section that was further up, but yeah, it was getting fairly difficult because I had so many like villagers
Yeah.
swarm. I had that like two separate sections, I think in one in chapter two and then one in chapter three. But on those scenarios though, I started to do something a little bit different to where I loop around, and especially during like one of the big old skirmish battles and stuff in like chapter three. I go around right, and then I go into that narrow corridor and stuff right when you after the Del Lagos battle and stuff, and like there's this cave and stuff you could squeeze yourself through that'll progress you to like this area to where there's like a big old swarm of villagers and stuff, and this dude with a minotaur mask and stuff with a freaking sledgehammer. And yeah, I was able to single off a lot of these villagers, got them go through there, killed a couple of different those, got the guy with the minotaur mask. He can't go past a certain barrier. Realized that dude can't go past a certain barrier when he's going through that climbing up and then try to go through the tunnel. He'll go like about halfway through and then he'll turn around and go back. And that's the opportunity I had to go and try to chip away at his health. So eventually I end up killing all of those villagers and the dude with the Minotaur mask in order to do a sweep through so I complete a couple of the side missions, like for the medals and then for like for some other aspects. But all that was leading because I wanted to try to improve my weapons that I had. So I ended up selling off the beginning pistol and got the primer or something like that, or the oh it's
The Punisher.
oh I the Punisher. That's right. It started with a P, and it was the Punisher. It's definitely a better pistol than what you're handed with to start off the game. But I upgraded all of that up until like the last slot of like each corresponding set of the weapon. I've updated my case not once but twice because I wanted as much space as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I know in this game already I've had trouble trying to organize everything and not try to waste everything. There's just something cathartic about having this big old case and then you're just rearranging everything and stuff and trying to make everything okay, if I combine this with this, it'll put up like these two squares of space, like save until I can put something else in it. Maybe I can craft like a flash grenade or like a grenade or maybe some bolts or something to like that bolt gun that you get. Oh man, speaking of that bolt gun, I ended up discovering something purely by accident. I know Tyler, you and I were talking and stuff, and then out of the blue, I just turn on my map and I see there's a little bit of ammo stuff that's appearing on the map. I think, oh, okay, maybe one of the enemies I killed dropped some bits of like items I needed to pick up. But no, there are specific ammo. Like, say if you shoot the bolt gun and you can't find like some of your arrows or something, like you're not paying attention and stuff, you can actually find where the re-pick up your arrows and like re-pick up like certain ammo when they drop on the map. And that's so incredibly useful. That's so incredibly useful. Another thing that's really incredibly useful in this game when it comes to when it does come to like ammo stuff, when you have that charm on your initial case and it has that charm of like say more ammo and stuff for like like the hand pistol and stuff like the pistol
Yeah,
itself, that is so much of a blessing because they didn't have that type of thing in the original Resident Evil 4, and running out of the pistol ammo was such a pain in the ass, even for those early portions of the chapters, because when you're starting off new, you're not going to have that type of luxury. It's like, oh, okay, maybe if I try to avoid these two villagers or something like that, I can conserve some form of ammo. But no, inside of this game, I feel like I have to take out all these villagers in certain parts because they'll either come back, like they'll either come back in groups, or at the point where I'm at in the game now is the parasite just starts springing out of their head, and I have to do like a couple additional shots to their head in order for them to fall. Or if say their neck is broken or something, I have to do even like a couple more shots or something. Honestly, it takes almost as much shots to take out these villagers and stuff with their head kind of broken and stuff like that, and like their head's like right next to their shoulder and this and
yeah,
that, as it does like say with a
yeah.
But
I stick with the Resident Evil 4 tactic from the original game where you shoot them in the knee and you run up and kick them.
oh yeah,
That was
yeah, that I've done a couple of different times too. That's actually knocked out quite a few villagers that way,
yeah.
where I had like one shot to the head or something like that, and then I just go up and just melee kick them. Sometimes I'll get lucky and
They hit multiple.
like and I hit multiple people. And one of the more funnier things that happened is one of the old ladies tried to attack me and stuff, and like I did that, like I shot her in the head, and all of a sudden she's like just on spaghetti legs, and all of a sudden I roundhouse kick her, and she goes right down off a bridge, and I'm like,
Works out too.
oh man. I like the selection of weapons you get. I do love the aspect of trading in certain bits of currency that you get in order to get certain things. Like, for example, I got this elegant mask because I really wanted to try to earn up enough to improve some aspect of. Oh, no, no. It was to try to buy another weapon, right? And so I end up buying this, exchanging these type of tokens and stuff to get this like this mask. And the thing about the mask is you can insert certain like emeralds and like certain types of jewelry inside of this thing. So that way when you sell them off, you can get like all sorts of various like money and stuff for it. I end up finding out if you have like all of like say one different type, that's all of a certain type of stone that makes it even more valuable, or if you have one of like each type, let's say like a ruby, sapphire, and an emerald, that's even more or something like that. There's like a specific type of pattern or something. But for me, I just did two of a kind with two rubies and then one sapphire and stuff, and I just sold off at it as is. Got about 18,000 in regards, and that was enough to get the weapon that I really wanted to get. But my overall feels of Resident Evil 4 remake, damn, that game is so fun. It's so fun, but damn, it is definitely more difficult on the normal play.
Yeah,
But let's see. Then after spending about 3 or 4 hours of Resident Evil 4 remake and stuff, I did take a little bit of a break though. But I know you and I played a bit of AEW Fight
yeah,
Forever.
yeah. We did like
Oh my
5 matches
god!
online. You won the first four, I think. Um,
And yeah,
and then the last game we did a ladder match, and then I ended up winning that one.
I
That was
know.
pretty funny. We learned like I never done the ladder match before, and it was just kind of funny, like learning what we had to do, and just like the crazy shit you can do with the fucking ladder in this game. It's pretty funny.
It's one of the more honestly, it's one of the more experimental type of modes because inside of this like ladder match mode in Fight Forever, there'll be a couple things that will happen, and you and I saw that point blank to where there are certain glitches that
Yeah,
occur if you try to perform certain moves on the ladder. But what's more hilarious is we didn't even we didn't even like test out some bit of some of the other aspects of what the ladder could do. Like for example, let's say if you knock out your opponent on the outside and you climb up the ladder, you can actually dive off the ladder to the
oh shit.
outside and stuff like that. I've done that before in like previous like say WWE 2K games and stuff. Like say 2K14, I was playing one of my friends online and stuff. He was Ricky Steamboat. I think I was Macho Man, and I just dove. No, actually, no. He was Macho Man. I was Ricky Steamboat, and I dove off the ladder, off the ring, like on him to the bottom and stuff, and I ended up running back in, and basically I beat him in the 10 count.
Nice.
But yeah, you could do that in regards to the ladder match stuff. You can set it off against the ring. Oh boy. In regards to what else you can do, I mean, you can't do like in say some 2K games could do. You can't like say set up against the rope and just use like a springboard off the thing,
Yeah.
you know, or
Yeah.
it's more sort of akin to some of the older ladder
Yeah.
matches to where you can do some of the basic stuff, but you're not going to do something really, really crazy. Although it was pretty funny that there were animations for when we slam each other on the ladder, and then all of a sudden you just see this. Oh,
Yeah.
it looked
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I actually like the ladder match. I like the what you have to do to like actually grab whatever's up, the belt or anything that's hanging above it. It's a lot better than like I don't like the random like or like the you gotta hit the meter at the right time like WWE 2K does or mash the button, until you finally grab it. Like I hated that like the old WWF SmackDown days and shit where like you just had
Yeah,
to mash it for like 30 seconds until you grabbed it. It was awful. I kind of liked it. We
I
just
do kind of. Yeah.
I like that. But then like we did the my favorite thing ever in video games now is the fucking AEW Stadium Stampede, which is on online mode. It's 30 people. It's 30 people
Mm-hmm.
online, uh, running around a stadium, and it's basically like just a battle royale game.
Yep.
And like the circle gets smaller as you go, but you find boxes with like weapons in them, and like some of them are like footballs you can throw at people or bottles, or you could pick up a kendo stick or something like that. And we played two games online. First game, like
Mm-hmm.
immediately, I think like we got knocked out pretty much back to back by the same dude.
Well, here's the thing, though. What was frustrating about that is we had some dude playing as MJF, right? And he got me pretty much locked into like getting hit over and over and over again with the fucking
Yeah,
footballs and stuff. So I got basically stun locked into a couple different things, and he executed his finisher, and I was out like not even like a few minutes into
yeah.
the
And then he like
match.
immediately got me too.
Yeah, that's some aspects where you will encounter mostly online because up until when you and I both played the Stadium Stampede mode, I had tried it previously, and there was a couple different ways I did try to approach it. And the best thing is just to avoid conflict with almost anybody else. Just wait it
Yeah,
out until there's a couple other like players left. And that's exactly what happened, I think, with the second match that we did, because I know I went out like fairly quickly as well, but you stayed a lot
yeah. I made
longer.
it to the final two, but like, why not? I took out five people because I took out like a bunch like really quickly, like, and then
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, like, but then I found a horse, and then I just rode around the stadium and then
Mm-hmm.
was going around hitting people, as I was going, and like, but I was avoiding, but I was like hitting people, but then like they couldn't hit me, but then there was like a guy that like climbed on top of like a trailer and was like chucking stuff at us and just waiting. And then basically it was like loaded up, and he was like waiting for me to go up there. And as soon as I went up there, it was pretty much over, because he was able to avoid contact till the end. So he had a full health bar, and I was like half a health bar. Um, yeah, we played two matches of that. I thought it was kind of fun. Like it's not something I'm gonna like ever. I don't. I can see myself like maybe going back to once in a blue moon to dick around in. The problem is though, what sucks is like, uh, there are people that's like, we like that first game we played. There was like two or three guys that were like maxed out level 50, and then the rest of
Yep.
it was like a bunch of level ones and twos like us, and like they like what sucks is like most like the games like this like leveling up you just like unlock like you unlock gear or like different like yeah like I said gear or shit like that you can look different, but like this game like actually does give you upgrades for leveling up, so like
Yes, they
it's not
do.
like
So that affects things as
yeah, so it
well.
definitely makes it like really unbalanced there. So like they're just feasting on us. Um, so that kind of sucked. But like I don't know, I thought it was fun for what it was. It's like I said, it's not something I see myself going back to often. But like I wouldn't be
Hmm.
shocked, as long as there's people playing it. At once in a blue moon, going back and like dick around in there because it's like the games are short and it's fun. Like the game, I don't know, it was less than 10 minutes long that game. Uh,
I will say though, Tyler, that it was a pain in the ass initially because we couldn't initially say take a party into
yeah,
say
that
that
does
mode
suck. You can't do a
itself.
party mode and jump in and play, which I guess you can't technically do in like other games like Fortnite. You can, but like you have to like play on a team together. That's the only way you get to a
Right.
party together is you're four, and this is all it's all everybody for themselves. So I guess I see it, but it does suck where it's like, especially in a game like AEW Fight Forever, where like it doesn't have a huge audience. There's not a lot of people playing this game concurrently, so it'd be like, yeah,
Hmm.
like just let a bunch of people just jump in and play. I get it, like I get why they don't want it because it you can have you can like you were doing like you were telling me where people were at while I was running around and shit. You were telling me about the guy up on
Yeah.
the trailer throwing shit at us, but yeah, I could see like why you wouldn't want that, but it's like I don't know. A game this small, like dude, you need every advantage you can get to stay
Oh
relevant.
yeah,
So
absolutely. And besides, they're doing the exact same type of shit too, so you got to even the battlefield a
mm, yeah, but I
bit.
thought it was fine. It was fun, but yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then Gables, we
what?
played the game. Our buddy Tim, aka Nerves, joined the group, and hung out with us for an hour or so, and we played. We started going through like looking up all like the playoff PlayStation um, like collection like games that are in like the extra tiers and stuff like that, PS
Yep.
Plus stuff. And we're like, what's a fun just dumb game we could play together? Because earlier this year or like last year or something, we like all played this like a Jumanji game on there,
Yes, we
and
did.
it was a bad game, but it was like a fun bad game that we all played together online and had a
Well,
great time.
exactly.
And we were going through. I'm like, man, there's not a lot on here that's like something we could jump into and just be fun. We could just stick around it without being too serious. But then we found the game. Contra Rogue Core. Uh, this game is like this is like the one like Konami game they've released since the Metal Gear Survive, um, and it famously got really bad reviews. Like I think like it was getting like fives and lower, for the most part. So we played it for the first like what 4 levels I think,
Yes, we did.
um, and the game is bad. It's real bad,
Oh
but
yeah.
it was like it wasn't broken bad. Like it was just a bad game. Like it looked like trash. The like it's a twin stick like top. It's like asymmetrical twin stick shooter. But like the game looks like I would say it looked like a really good PS2 game. I guess it would be fair. Would you say that's fair?
Right. Yes, I would say
Um,
that's fair. I would say that it looks in some aspects sort of worse than say like Contra Shattered Soldier on the PS2. But other than that, though, I mean, it's definitely there are some aspects of it that look better than some of the worst games released this year, I would say.
I don't know about that, Gables. This game looked like shit. Uh, but yeah, we played it and it was fine. It's like the twin stick nature of it. Like I hate the fact that when you were aiming, like you
Yes,
slow down, you couldn't like move fast.
that's
But it
true.
was like you're fighting off a wave of like like basically like of aliens. And three. We're doing three. It's up to 4 players. There's three of us playing.
Yeah.
But it was like they were telling a really bad story.
Yes.
But it was like they know what I think it helps that they know what this game was. Like we're gonna tell a dumb story where like one of the characters has like an alien in her stomach and she like
Yep.
stabs herself in the stomach,
And her name is
randomly.
That's Harakiri.
Yeah, and then like I played as like an alien dude that was goof like he had some fucking problems. Uh, Nerves played as the panda, and but it was just like a fun. Like we had a really good time just like running. Like it's definitely a game that's like it was fun because we were playing together. But like I was shocked by like how like fine the game was playing it. Like there's definitely a lot of problems here. It's definitely like I said, not a game I will ever go back to,
Yeah.
unless it was just us playing together. But yeah, like it was actually ended up playing like it was like the story was awful. The cutscenes were terrible. It was funny because like the opening cutscene was like a fully like almost like an anime style like like a really like I'm like oh wow this game actually okay this actually have some budget here. And then you got to like the rest of the game. It's like man, like 90% of this budget went to that fucking opening cutscene explaining the history of like the lore of this game.
It
Like and then
definitely felt that way.
yeah, but like the jump button, there was like a very noticeable delay when you jumped.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of platforming parts in this game, and it made it excruciating, like painful, like just like trying to like jump and like you had to like actually learn how to. And then the jump button was like the R1 and instead
Yes.
of a sort of circle. So it was like we kept hitting the wrong button. Like circle was like or no, and then like we kept forgetting like dash was like L2 or something. So like
Yeah.
I kept thinking like, oh, this like I kept mixing up the buttons and like hitting my special attacks when I was trying to dash or like, um, yeah, like or getting hit when I was trying. Like, I thought I was moving. It was definitely like it's not a good game at all. But like if you're just like bullshit with your friends and you just want like basically it's like a reason to play games with your friends and bullshit with them. And this is
Yeah.
what this game is kind of perfect for that. Like if you're not like you're not looking for anything serious, some just like it's junk food. It's junk food video games. And yeah, this is actually what it was. But yeah, we had a good time. But yeah, it was like I said, playing with your friends, it's fun. So what about you, Gables, on that one?
To be perfectly honest with you, I mean, yeah, the game in and of itself isn't doesn't look that great. There are some like quirks with the controls and stuff that are fairly weird, especially since it's supposed to be a twin stick shooter, but it's so awkward trying to aim and stuff because of the whole aspects of the aim mechanic and it being a little bit gimped.
Yeah,
But on top of that, it was just it was just one of those games where it we know it's bad and the developer is pretty much kind of figured, okay, this is so bad it's actually kind of fun in some aspects.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's I feel like that this game is sort of like say a 6 or like what you were saying Tyler yesterday to where it was like kind of like a 6 or a 5 in terms of like the game's quality of itself, but yet there was still some enjoyment that we did have. I mean, Tim with his freaking panda army and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That was pretty funny. The whole freaking this big old panda so you control as and stuff just wrecking havoc and stuff, and all of a sudden he just is one of his specials is like freaking like having like a little miniature army of freaking 3 or 4 pandas just shooting at stuff, or like my special attack, one of my missiles and stuff, to where literally it cuts to an animation, and I do this by accident, right? One of the first things I do, I press the triangle button on accident because I confuse it with another command,
Mm.
and it goes into a miniature little cutscene of like the lady like shooting a freaking missile out of the aliener's stomach, right? Just like it's like, oh god, like it just on this blast radius stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I think one of the funnier parts about it is like some of the taunts. Like you can make your characters dance, you can make them like go through this other stuff, and the way that my character was dancing, it kind of looked like she was a stripper.
Yeah. Yeah. Like mine was like dancing and then balancing the gun on his nose. Um, yeah, like it was definitely like the game was good in the sense of like it's like when you watch like a low budget horror movie with your friends and it's just like you're
Yeah,
just having a great fucking time because you're with your friends
dude,
making fun of like this obvious like this terrible movie that they know was terrible. This is what this
that's
game
an
is.
excellent analogy, dude. I mean, even more so, Credence, when we were in that hub menu and we look over to our right of our screen and stuff, and there's these guys with monitors for their heads, and they're just gyrating their hips on
Yeah,
top of
there's dancing.
machines.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I know this game doesn't take itself too seriously. Contra, it's it has a history and stuff, but it's overly kind of machismo. It's obviously over like action straight, not taking like the stories thing seriously and all this other shit. But it was just funny just seeing core aspects like that and like the name of certain characters, the special attacks of certain characters or something. It added more to the fun factor of it, I thought. And even with like some level design choices that were clearly sort of like obtuse or like fairly like generic or some, or even like with some of the gameplay hiccups and stuff, we were still going through levels pretty like regularly. And while you were talking, I was looking through some of the like how many missions or how many like levels there are. Apparently there's like about 6 missions per rank, and we were only doing like the first rank
Oh
of
my
missions.
god.
There's like, I kid you not, I think around there's like about 6 to 8 ranks or something like
Oh
that. So
god.
this is a
No.
fairly long
No.
game.
No. This game should be like 4 hours tops. Like this is what I mean. Like this is probably why this game got like really bad reviews is because we had fun because we played it for like an hour. But I
Yep.
could imagine if you played this full like 8 to 10 hour game, and especially if you're by yourself, probably a miserable time. So yeah, but so we played that, and then Gables took a break for a little while. Then I played a bunch of went back to Spider-Man 2. Kind of went back, played for long chunks and went back to it. But I kind of was talking about like kind of final thoughts on this game until we get to Game of the Year. Because spoiler alert, this will be on my Game of the Year list. I'm blown away with this game. Obviously, like I said, I platinum this game, but like I think part of it too, obviously, is like it's a open world game, but it's not like an overwhelming like it is like it's an open world game that like in the sense of like, but it's like manageable open world game. It's not like what we see nowadays, like these Ubisoft map games where like you open up the map and there's 6 billion icons on the map of all these things you got to do, and you just feel overwhelmed in like an hour. And the world's way too big, and you just feel like you're just wasting time. This game does a good job. Like I've always said, like instead of just giving me a million small tasks that ultimately mean nothing, like give me, just give me a good, 10 hours or so of solid, really well thought, input into like good side quests. And like I didn't love every single one. There's a couple of like the drone one, you had to chase a drone and stuff. I didn't really care for that one. I saved that to the end as well. That was one of the last ones I did, and I was like I did them all back to back to back, and I did not enjoy that. They weren't terrible, but like they were overall it took me like 15 minutes to do all 8 of these missions, so it wasn't uh I'm spending an hour doing this stuff. But I enjoyed like doing all the bases, taking all the enemies, finding the bases, going to the big bases, taking them out. I loved. There's a couple late side missions that they put in there that I really like doing. But like, yeah, I went through. I really liked all these. Like they got rid of like I feel like they got really did a great job of getting rid of all the pain points of the side missions. Like I did not like the pigeon one, and like the drone one is kind of like the pigeon, but it's a lot easier and faster. They got rid of like the cloud stuff, like the one you had like go into like the chemical clouds and stuff. But like they did a really great job of like I think just fine tuning these side missions, and making them like they're fun, and if you're not really enjoying them, but you want to like you are a completionist in this sense. Like I'm not a completionist, but this game was like I'm enjoying so much. Like I said, I want to finish it and complete it all. Um, but like they also built to like the crescendo of like what is the bigger story of this. Like they all led to something kind of big. I want to see where that's going. So I like that. Like all the like where all the side missions ended up ultimately leading was awesome, especially the stuff like with the flame. The one of the gangs you end up spending a lot of time with, and like there's a huge uh, progression of us with the character in there. I don't want to spoil anything for people that don't know it yet, but I love that those missions. All the stuff with the base, learning kind of the backstory of Craven through like doing the bases and stuff. You like learn a lot about his like family and like kind of where he came from and stuff like that. I love that. Just like it was really great like lore building and like learning more about the characters, like the world itself, learning about like Peter Parker and Miles Morales. You learn more about their backstories because obviously like I think Spider-Man was like already Peter Parker was Spider-Man for like 7 years before we actually played 2018, and then this is like 3 years after um 2018, the 2018 Spider-Man. I think it's like a year after the Miles Morales game. So, it fills in a lot of gaps on that too, of like what's going on with these characters. But yeah, I ended up loving a lot of those. The story itself, all the missions were awesome as well. I loved, love, um, where they ultimately were going with this vitamin story, and then also what they set up for the next game. Spoiler alert: there will be a next game. But I love where like it kind of ended off, and like these teasers of where they're going are pretty awesome. And I'm really excited, obviously, like to see where these go. Um, but totally blown away. Like I really like 2018. Like it was like I think my number 4 game for 2018. But like I wouldn't like put it in like an all time like if I was making like a top 25 list or something like that. It wouldn't be in my all time great games, but it'd be like man, that game is like it would definitely be on my. We did a game of the generation list and it was on it. Like that's where it'd be, but it wouldn't be on my all time list. But like really love that game. It was a great game. It's a phenomenal game. But like this felt like one of those like this will be like a game of the generation type game to me. Like the sense of like it's not just on the list. Like it's a contender to be at the top of that list. Um, so yeah, I'm loving that game. Love the story. Love where it went. Love all the stuff. Like I even enjoyed like the Mary Jane missions they did. Yes, they are back, but like they definitely heard the complaints and like I like there's only a few of them and they're not super long. But I actually really I liked what they did with them. It was like with the stealth missions and something like that. Like they gave her like a stun gun, and like I liked it. And it was like a lot of story building with her as well, and like kind of her story. Um, but man, like this game is phenomenal. The game like they really like I mentioned a couple weeks ago. Like they really fine tune the combat and like your special abilities, and just finding ways to work better. Like the skill tree was a lot better, I think as well. But yeah, like I said, this game was absolutely phenomenal. I 100%ed it, and it was kind of like I got the platinum, and I was just like kind of sad. I was like, man, this game was like, yeah, like I put it took me about 30 hours to get the platinum in this. Probably, I mean, I could have done a lot faster, probably, but it's fun flying around the city and stuff like that. But I was when it was over, I was like, man, like I literally have nothing else to do in this game, other than I could do some crimes, like do some like do the crime mini stuff, but like, and I'm not done with this game. Like that's like crazy for me. Usually like some games, like especially these open world games, where it's like it gets to a point where I'm like, I just want to finish this game and move on. Um, Pretty much every single one of them. That's usually what I'm like. I'll do side missions up to a point, and then eventually I'm like, all right, I'm kind of burnt out. I'm kind of losing the steam on this game. I just need to finish, wrap it up, and finishing it, and move on. And this game, I was done with it. I'm like, I don't want to move on. Like, I have like a bunch of other games. I got to like a half dozen other games sitting here that I still have yet to play that I want to play, and I'm just like, I kind of want to keep playing this game. But yeah, it was phenomenal. I really liked it. Um, and then after, well, kind of in between there, I played Super Mario Wonder, like I was talking about. And like, I'm not a huge 2D Mario guy. Like, I never really have been. Like, like I understand like the greatness of them, like the 2D Mario games. I understand like what people love about them, but I've never been a huge 2D. I've never really been a big major Mario guy. Like, I've always liked the Mario spin-off stuff more. So like the Luigi's Mansions, the Paper Mario's of the world, the Mario sports games growing up. Really like my first like real Mario game, like core Mario game that I loved, loved was Mario 3D World. I love that game. And then Mario Odyssey was phenomenal. It's probably the best game on Switch to me. Um, but yeah, like Super Mario Wonder was like the first time I really liked um, a 2D Mario game. Like I beat the one on like on DS, the first new Super Mario Brother game. But other than that, like I've beaten all the other ones, but it was like there's obviously they're short, but like I've never been a huge finisher of these games. Like, oh, I gotta finish them, or even like like even want to play them sometimes. But like man, once I just got going on this, and just like what they add to each individual, like every level being so different, is definitely like is just made me want to keep playing it and see like get all the one like get the wonders. Like I was actually like really upset. Like I'm not a completionist in these games either. Like I'm not trying to get all the coins. I'm just like I'm not trying to find all the wonder seeds. I'm like that's not me. Like, I'm beating all the levels and stuff, but I'm not like I'm not going. I'm not trying to get 100% in this stuff. But like there's a couple levels I finished and I missed a wonder seed. I'm like God damn it, because I was like it's like it's just every level was so different. Like sometimes it's gonna turn and like now it's a top down game, or now the like the piranhas are singing, or now you're writing like you're writing on top of like these bowls, or just like the randomness of like what happens in every level was just so fucking awesome and funny to me. Like it just I never got like I could never get like tired of the platforming. Like the platforming was great, but I'm just not a huge platformer guy in general. That's just me. But like I like just the style and the talking goddamn flowers and the wonder seeds, the way every level was different than the last, and the way everything changed always kept me on my toes, and like adding new mechanics throughout the game constantly. And just like it's crazy to me, like I've said this before about like the Mario games in the past, especially like Mario Galaxy, where it's like these games will do things like you'll do them like once, and like they might build a world around this thing, but then you're never gonna do it again. Like there might be this mechanic that you do in this, and you do it for a world, and then you never do it again. Then the next world you go on and you do something different, and the next world you do something different. Where like most games would like build a whole game around a mechanic, and like that's the whole game, this mechanic right here. And it's like Mario's like, yeah, we're gonna do this for like 5 or 6 levels and you're done. And this game was just like, yeah, you're gonna do this for a level and never do it again. It's like it's just so crazy to me. It's like this whole fucking thing. But yeah, I am finishing it. I loved it. That last boss fight. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil it for people. That last boss fight was stressful as fuck, but it was awesome by the end of it. Um, yeah, like I could do with less rhythm levels because I have zero rhythm. Gables watched me at one point try to do this rhythm level, and it was embarrassing as fuck for me. But I had ultimately had a great time with this game. I really like this game. I don't know if it's going to be on my top 10 list, just because of how deep this year is. And like I said, I'm not a huge 2D platformer guy. But I don't be shocked if it is on there. But like it's been a great year, so I'm not going to make this a guarantee. But if it's anybody's game of the year, or if it's top five, top three, top two game of all time, I totally get it, because yeah, this game is absolutely incredible. Gables, I was kind of talking about like the rest of my game day. Kind of like after Contra, how was the rest of your game day?
Actually, the rest of the game day was really straightforward because right after the Contra Road Corp stuff, I did take a little extended break. I had to go through and get stuff at like Costco and stuff. But once I returned back and stuff, I just decided to play more Mario. Just wanted to play Super Mario Wonder. But yeah, you and I played a little bit to the certain times, and I thought it was kind of interesting that we were each you were like inside of my game, right? You were doing your own separate thing. I was doing my own
Yeah,
separate thing and stuff. We were playing levels together and stuff, and it just kind of showcased one thing that we realized is like, wow, this is a basic thing that Nintendo really got right for this.
yeah,
For something that's actually standard for like say a online game. There was no connection issues. There was no like say slowdown or any type of like lag or anything of that sort while connected online or anything. It felt really smooth when it came to the game stuff itself. I mean, you were showing me a little bit of secrets. I was showing you a little bit of secrets and stuff for like trying to get like inside of like the fourth world. But eventually, I had to step out and stuff. You decided to do little things on your own and stuff. I did some bit of things. I had gotten most of the Wonder Seed stuff. I didn't collect all of the purple coins and stuff. End up decided with like about what was it? Almost close to about an hour left of extra lives. Like, I want to try to at least beat Super Mario Wonder. So that way this game is good enough to where I want to go back and try to collect all the other stuff to try to unlock what else is locked in here because there was a whole special world that I didn't even explore fully yet because I did not get all the extra stuff inside of the other worlds previous. And that is big with me because it's like it tells me there's so much content inside of this game. And it's so much more than what people would give it credit for. And the thing about platformers, yeah, there's all sorts of different platformers. They'll do certain gimmicks for, like, say, for an entire game. Sometimes they'll do certain mechanics and they'll stack them on top of other mechanics to try to make it even more kind of compoundness sort of things. But then there's some, like, say, with what some Mario games do, which they do like a gimmick for like a level and then all of a sudden they'll go and never return back to it again. I mean, the thing that flashes back to me for that is like in Super Mario Brothers 3, there's a level on World 5 where you use the Karibo shoe, and it's only in that one level, right? And so basically, what Mario would do, you would have to, like, an enemy would be on top of a line of blocks, and you have to hit underneath the line of blocks in order to knock them out of the shoe, and then all of a sudden, you're just hopping around the level, like, just basically until the rest of the level. You walk on top of piranha plants, you do all this other stuff, and that gimmick was only used inside of that one level. There are many of those type of things that are in Super Mario Wonder, and quite honestly, it kind of makes you guess. It has you guessing, like through each individual level you go through. It's like there is a core pattern in terms where every level has like a Wonder Seed esque type of element, but you don't know what's going to be present and available. You'll may have a Wonder Seed thing where you'll maybe have a pipe or something like that that's like curling up and down, kind of like what we're seeing, and then another one it'd be something completely different. I will go through and probably spoil this one little aspect of one of the Wonder Seed stuff where there was a quiz. There was a read up quiz. It's like in the middle of things. Okay, how many badges do you have currently? Or like, well, this is not like what? And basically, you go until you answer these questions right, and you earn the Wonder Seed. So that I do like that, and because it reminds me of the times as a kid playing Super Mario World and going through each level and finding something that was completely different from almost the last one. In ways, Super Mario Wonder feels like the natural evolution of Super Mario World. Super Mario World is a fantastic game, is one of my favorite games of all time. It's the first game I ever completed. It's actually one of the first games I've ever beat. Playing something that's more akin to, say, what I played as a kid, I mean, honestly, it's awesome, but it just reminds me we hadn't had a style of 2D Mario game like that since Super Mario World. We've had the new Super Mario Brothers games that were introduced like in 2005 with like the original for DS and then Super Mario Brothers Wii for the Wii and then the subsequential like other games in that series. And yeah, they presented like a streamlined sort of Mario game aspects, but even though they had some bits of fun here and there, it wasn't to the level of what we're seeing here with this year's release of Super Mario Brothers Wonder because it brings forth an element that the classic Mario Brothers games had, and that was these types of gimmicks, these types of creativity through each individual stage keeps the player's interest at a high because they're less concerned about, oh, okay, I got to go through one of these levels again. I got to go through and collect these 3 coins and do the same thing I've been doing. But with the Wonder Seed element, it made me look forward to each individual level after I completed the last one. This game made the rest of Extra Life feel incredibly quick because I was playing a game that was fairly enjoyable. It obviously wasn't to the full extent of what I played last year, playing through the most of God of War for the PS4. That was an anomaly. I mean, that was just one game I played that whole entire time. Where this, well, Super Mario Brothers Wonder was like the fifth, maybe fourth or the fifth major game or something I tried playing that from yesterday. But man, there were definitely different types of theme, like different types of level type, not level types, but different worlds and stuff that you would think of. Like, okay, there's a lava world, there's things with water, there's things with, say, poison stuff, or like say clouds and this and that. There were some levels that are kind of different in that regards, some worlds that were kind of different and stuff. But yet, every single one of them felt unique. There were some aspects that were reused, but just subtly. There were new enemies that you could encounter, new power-ups you got a chance to experiment with. It felt awesome. And considering this is coming from someone that has grown up playing these 2D Mario games, played through the first three original Mario games like on Super Nintendo and then years later on NES and then Super Nintendo and stuff, I felt like I was playing a game from that era. And quite honestly, this definitely feels like one of the best Mario Brothers games. I would probably say that this is not going to be like saying the echelon of like being the best Super Mario Brothers game, but at the same point, this is in the conversation of those four 2D Mario games, right? Where it's like this could easily be like inside of like the top three best Super Mario Brothers games of all time, or like say inside of that top five. And that's because of how much quality is throughout that entire experience. How much ease of use is in entirety in this experience. You can play this game by yourself. You can connect online, and there will be players that will help you. There will be standees that they'll put up and stuff to where you get to respawn yourself inside of a level in case you fall down a pit or you face off against a boss, or it could be to where what happened with me yesterday was I go into a level, I'm kind of dying a little bit, and then a player was actually waiting for me to respawn, and so it's showing me a little bit of, okay, here, going this way and that way. I'm like, wow, that was something completely different. But yeah, you have that option to where you can either take a harder stance on the game itself. Maybe you'll play just by yourself, you'll use a specific character, or you're trying to make it even more difficult for you. Or you could go the route to where you'll have other players help you, or you'll be playing with a group of friends or family that enjoy it that way. I mean, the element of choice inside of this game is fantastic. The amount of characters you can play as is abundant. I only played as Mario. I know you played a lot as Luigi,
My boy.
but but it it just feels like to me this is definitely one of the best games of the year. This
Yeah.
definitely also feels like is one of the best Mario games of all time. But man, I got to admit I was not expecting the amount of stuff that I was going through throughout this entire game. It finally got to where when I got to that last Bowser battle and going through all of that and seeing like how it worked and how intricate that was. And I thought it was going to be kind of like overly difficult because at that final level, it's like it's 5 stars, right? It's the equivalent of like the hardest type of level of choice you can go forth with. And going off against that, against Bowser and stuff in that final fight, and then subsequently everything, I was actually like, I was happy that I went through and finished this game because it felt like I've achieved something. It felt like I achieved something going through all of these tasks, all of these adventures, all these other like elements that I went through every single stage. Dude, it felt like a joyride from beginning to end. And that's one of those things where that's fairly important because I've played platformers, both 2D and 3D, and yet I've went through the motions and stuff like that, but they weren't readily as memorable. Or I've played games where this is good, but at the same time, this is not like, say, a great game, to where I humbly feel that this is definitely a fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic.
Mm.
But other than that, I ended my extra life by playing a couple different games because when I finished Super Mario Wonder, I literally had like about an hour left. I literally
Yeah.
finished it like around 11 o'clock. And then I look at my Switch. I'm like, well, what else can I play? So I played a couple of pickup matches of Tecmo Bowl, which that was funny. And it went kind of the way you expect. I dominated two of them. And then all of a sudden, I go to week three. I face off against the Chicago Bears. And then I was having a little bit of issues here. I was actually kind of trailing a bit until finally I took some defensive stands. I actually got a couple interceptions. I ended up beating them like about 30, well, like 42-13 or something like that. But I did that glute after halftime. But I ended my game on a positive note. I started playing F-Zero 99 with like the last 15 minutes or so left until midnight. And I raced like about two or three. I raced about three different races, right? And I finally got my rank up level from the S minus tier to just the S tier, and with the Blue Falcon and everything else. And I ended my time in Extra Life doing practice, like time trials for the different tracks. And I ended up beating a couple different time trials of courses that I've unlocked. Like, I've unlocked every single course inside of that game. I've completed every single cup, like inside the different leagues, from the knight, the queen, the king, and stuff like that. I have not placed first in any of these Grand Prix events yet, but I've almost unlocked everything for just the Blue Falcon. And so doing a lot of that stuff, ending the extra life by just completing like a big old time trial for Deathwind 2, that hard ass course with some of the kings like class and stuff. That one was fun. But yeah, the entirety of Extra Life was a positive one because I know for a fact there was a lot of things positive that happened, including breaking my record for some of the most things that was donated to like my Extra Life thing. I mean, last year I did go and like get like about over 200 or something like that. This year I had a couple of like anonymous people come in and actually drop about $250. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm humbled about it. I'm blessed. I'm very thankful. I don't know who these people were, but at the same time, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I mean, I've been helping raise money for Seattle Children's Hospital now for 11 years by doing this event. And having somebody just come in and be that generous and not expect anything inside of return except for like a humble thank you, it's really eye-opening. It's really jaw-dropping too because at the end of the day, I mean, hell, I'm glad that I was able to go forth and raise like about a little over $570 in total. And that's absolutely smashing the $150 goal that I had set initially because I wasn't looking for much. I was just looking just to go and just satisfy, maybe, hopefully, the thing. Because I know times are tough. I
Yeah.
know things are like crazy with these interest rates and all these other high up costs for food and the cost of living and stuff. But yet, in the end, we're doing this for one purpose, and that's to help sick kids.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. Like, yeah, breaking that $500 barrier.
Yeah.
I got over $500 this year too. So yeah, it's
Yes.
pretty awesome. We both did over 500, and yeah, it's pretty great. Always feels good to hit your goal, and like yeah, for you, like you said, you were talking about, yeah, you had a goal of 150, and you almost quadrupled it. So that's pretty fucking awesome. So
That's the fact, man. I mean, I know it's like for subsequent, like for a long time and stuff, it's like everybody else would raise all this stuff. They get they have a bunch of people like go through and donate, their family stuff, like people from work do this and do that and stuff. And now this is the first year in in the entire thing to where I'm finally going to be getting like a silver medal. I'm actually going to get like an actual medal thing for like recognition of, hey, this has all been worth it
Yeah.
for helping out Seattle Children's Hospital. This is all worth it and stuff. And like, you know,
Yeah.
that just feels amazing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like we love doing this, love doing for kids, but I mean, there's also a little selfishness stuff here. We're like, yeah, like you feel good when you do it, and it's just nice. Yeah, like I said, you got a little bit of recognition for it. You got yourself a silver medal and the T-shirt coming, so that's pretty fucking awesome. So
Mm.
yeah, but it's always nice, have a little bit of have a cool little thing you can put on the shelf to kind of show off a little bit, and like
Yeah.
put some if you're a karma guy, put a little bit, maybe you put a few points in the good karma bucket. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. Um, Gables, do you think we should wrap it up here? We're going over a little over an hour now.
Yeah, you know what? We could save like the topic
Yeah,
that we were gonna be talking about for next week.
yeah. I am. I think I've hit a wall. it's it is it's after midnight here. It's and
That's perfectly fine, man. I mean, I knew just coming into this, like the only thing that I think we wanted to talk about was just what we had been playing and stuff
yeah,
because it's like what you said the week before, dude. It's like the new stuff was like pretty sparse and stuff for coming into this week. The major stuff did happen in terms of like one news thing, but yeah,
yeah. Bungie.
we can always talk about
I
it
mean,
when
we I
we're
mean we could do it real
drunk.
fast. I mean, we can knock it out real fast. It's pretty. Yeah. So Bungie laid off about 100 people this week. Um,
Yeah,
they
unfortunately.
unfortunately the layoffs continue. 100 people, about 8% of their staff. Everybody was pretty shocked because they just got bought by Sony a year and a half ago, and they said that nobody would be laid off because of it. They used 1.2 billion of dollars of the money they got from Sony for employee retention, and then they a year and a half later they lay a bunch of people off. Also, the people that were there when this happened, they got a bunch of stock and from Sony for being purchased, but the stock wasn't vested, meaning they got to keep the money if they quit or got fired or laid off. So all that money, all those stocks that they got from Sony for the purchase, goes back to Bungie. So Bungie gets to keep that money, and the employee gets kind of fucked over on that. Bungie CEO Pete Parsons said in a meeting afterwards to the employees that they kept the right people for this to get Destiny 2 and Bungie back on track, which is kind of like a so were the people that you let go, the 100 people that lost your job, were they the wrong people? Were they bad people? I don't know. I'd say there's never a bad worker, but it's kind of a slap in the face of a bunch of people you just laid off. Um,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. So then this was a Bungie decision, not a Sony decision. Pete said that
Yes.
this didn't come down from Sony; that he made the decision himself. Some more stuff kind of came out since then, though. That apparently the studio was in some financial straits, or was not in financial straits, but in trouble before the Sony purchase, and that was kind of like that really kind of helped keep the company, save the company a little bit, and because they were in tough times. Destiny 2 was, although still very popular, it's not as popular as it was. Obviously, they had the huge Witch Queen expansion last year that really kind of kept that game really brought that game back in a big way. It
Well,
was
absolutely it did.
reviewed really
Yeah.
well. People were really happy about it. The employee retention shot way back up, and they kept people for a long time. Um, and unfortunately, Lightfall was kind of like the big selling point of like this is gonna be like the finale of the story. And you've talked about it, like it was definitely not that. It was kind of like a setup for the finale. Um,
Yes.
so I guess it did sell very very well. They were actually they exceeded projections as far as sales did. Lightfall did, but the issue that they're seeing is so Bungie missed revenue by 45%, which
Yes.
I feel like if you miss revenue, like so revenue, like what projected revenue uh, is meaning that like we picked the number what we think we're gonna earn, and we missed that by almost half. The people that picked what they think they're gonna earn are the people up top, and like I feel like when you miss the margin by that much, maybe it's on you. Maybe you fucked up somewhere. But
Yep.
they said the main issue is like Lightfall sold really well, but the problem was retention fell off fairly quickly thereafter. Like you talked about,
Hmm.
Gables, like you beat it fairly quickly. There wasn't a lot to keep coming back. Everybody was fairly disappointed with the story. and with the new content added. Um, so like basically like which is crazy because uh, Destiny 2 is the top 20 most played game this year on PlayStation,
Yep.
Xbox, and PC. And the fact that you're one of the top, I don't know, probably 10 games played this year, and you're not doing well financially. Like, I don't want to see, not doing well financially is maybe too much of a stretch, but like, you're not doing as well as you should be doing, or you're not like maybe you're not bringing in much more money than you're spending. Um, so yeah, so on top of that, they announced that the final shape, the DLC, the big expansion for next year, was supposed to come out in February, has been delayed to June because they said that the testing and everything like that is going well, but it's like it needs like it's not better. And Marathon, which is their big extraction shooter game, they announced back at the State of Play back in May, um, was internally supposed to come out in 2024, has now been moved to 2025. What's going on there is so people have been reporting that they got a bunch of people that like to test the game out, which is not unusual. Um, and they had a bunch of people that play like Tarkov and play a lot of extraction shooters come and test this game, and they asked everybody what they thought of the game. Everybody said it was good, like as far as like the gameplay and stuff like that. And they said, is this the game you see yourself coming back to? And 100 unanimously, everybody said no. So obviously some issues there, and I mean the problem is like it's the ongoing issue we've been talking about forever with video games in general, like just in entertainment in general. It's not just like video games. You're not just Destiny 2 wasn't just fighting with other games. It's fighting with Netflix, Hulu, every TV show out there, every football. Everybody's fighting with everybody now. But in like video game space now, we're seeing like it's stretched thinner and thinner. And like game like this, you can come out and you can be an 8 out of 10, and the 8 out of 10, like if there's not a reason to keep coming back, is just not good enough anymore for a live service game. So, like, what's your catch? What's your thing? What's like how good has been?
Right.
Like Destiny 2 is like probably I've always talked about like I always want to go back and play Destiny 2 because I like the shooting. It's phenomenal. It's like I think it's the best console shooter out there. It really is. It feels great. I like the combat. I love playing that game. But for someone like me that like I tried. I could talk about like a couple times. I've like the last year. I've tried to jump back into it, but it's so daunting as for someone like me that falls off for a couple of years, tries to jump back in.
Mm-hmm.
Even for people that just want to play the expansion and bounce out, like it's like overwhelming for them. But then on top of that, like I've talked about recently, like or I think maybe last year, where I bought all the expansion. Like I bought like two of the expansions, all the expansions before Witch Queen. They had on sale for like $7. I bought them all and I played a couple of them. But then there was one I went to go play last year when I decided to get back into the game, and I couldn't figure out how to start up the expansion. And then I looked it up, and they just got rid of it. Like it's just gone. I talked to you about it. Like yeah, they got rid of it because they changed kind of the flow of like the story and how they wanted like the story to be told for newcomers. But I'm like, well, I paid money for that. Like you paid more money. People paid money for that. It's like they're just getting rid of content and they're just changing the story and changing it. Like I mean, I get it's an ongoing game; things are going to change, but it's like you just got rid of content. Like major expansions are just gone now. And yeah, so like it's just like for people like me that like, I just want to jump back in. I beat the original campaign. I played a couple of the expansions. I want to get back to it, but it's so overwhelming and so confusing to like what I need to do, where I need to go. Like the onboarding is awful, and like people like like people like you that just want a reason to go. Like you love Destiny 2, you like
Mm-hmm.
no it's like Destiny 2. Like I know everybody wants to say dead game, but it's obviously not a dead game. Like it's does really people are still playing the goddamn game. It's one of the most played games of the year. But it is so funny. Like I don't think there's a bigger game out there where everybody is just not happy. It's so I think Destiny 2 is the hottest and coldest fan base out there. Where that game is either like fan fucking like Witch Queen, dude. Like that I don't think a game Destiny 2 was at a higher uh peak than ever with Witch Queen. Like that game, like I'm like, oh my, like this is like next level shit. Like I never heard people so happy about Destiny 2, even after the launch of like the initial game and anything like that. Like that seemed like the peak of Destiny. And then, but it's like every like before like a year before that though, everybody's like, this game's dead. It's not coming back. And then like Lightfall come out and it's like, yeah, this game's dead. It's not coming back. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not like I said. I've like I'm very cold on Destiny 2, for my reasons. But I don't know. Gibble's like, how you feel about Destiny at this point?
I'm concerned about the future of Destiny 2. That's first and foremost. But another thing is, I feel fairly sorry about the employees and stuff that lost their jobs in regards to this terrible
Yeah,
management
it's bullshit.
decision. I can understand why that B. Parsons went through and did various cuts. It sounds like to me because of the revenue dropping like about 45% and stuff. I think
Well,
that was part of the.
wasn't a revenue drop. It's just missed projections. So
Well,
for
yes,
all though
yes,
they still
the
could have made money.
projections.
But I don't know. It's like,
Yes.
did he take a fucking pay
But
cut, or is his, well, is he still making the same amount of money? That's what I
with
want
the
to know.
projections going down by 45% because of the whole life fall stuff, that doesn't surprise me one bit. It's because even hearing some bit of like the scuttlebutt in regards to what some employees were ended up telling, like say Jason Schreier and stuff like that, that there were members of the development team that were going up to the higher up, say, hey, we need to go forth and emphasize improving a bit of the core content with the game, and also in terms of the most requested features that players have wanted to have implemented inside Destiny 2, but a lot of that went on to deaf ears by
Mm-hmm.
the management team. I mean, in regards to a lot of the decisions that the management of Bungie did and has been doing with Destiny 2 now for a long while, some of it has made absolutely no sense. A good thing that you brought up, though, was in terms of the loss of content that you paid for. A couple of years ago, they decided that it was a good idea to go and sunset everything, and the way they did that is by getting rid of the core story stuff of Destiny 2, as well as the Forsaken DLC. That thing was one of the biggest DLCs when Destiny 2, for Destiny 2, because it was an answer, because everything else leading up to that, after that main story and stuff, was kind of lackluster in regards until that DLC hit, and that brought a lot of the Destiny 2 players back in order to want to play that stuff, and it lasted for quite a while. And the thing about it is, for me, I played that content up until like about halfway through the story. I thought, okay, I'm going to finish this later. But now I can't do that because at the same point, they gave a timeline on when they're going to take away content that you paid for. But a combination of a lot of different things, Tyler. I mean, obviously these layoffs definitely do affect things, and for Bungie, because they had to delay the release of Final Shape for like about a good solid 6 months.
3 months,
Well, 3 months. 3 months. Okay, so basically, I'm just counting from
or
like
well,
now
February
up
to
until
June, so 4 months, I guess.
February to June. Yeah, 4 months. At that same point, I don't even know what the hell they're gonna do from that initial point all the way to June. They have all their season aspects where you pay like $10 per season in order to try to go forth and do whatever type of things leading up to their next expansion or the next things in that though. But Bungie can't afford to have any more negative press than what they're have doing right now. Destiny 2 players, their morale's at an all-time low because of how freaking haphazard the Lightfall expansion was. Basically, we were led, like the Destiny community was kind of made to believe, okay, Lightfall, this is where all the stuff is going to be going down after the Witch Queen and stuff. You have this menacing looking dude or something like that is supposed to be taking over like just everything and doing this and that, and all of a sudden it was just basically an entire side mission leading up to the last expansion, the final shape. And so obviously, since that expansion wasn't that strong in terms of its story, in terms of the overall like gameplay stuff, and there were some aspects of it that were introduced that a lot of players didn't like, of course the retention rate's going to be low. You put out like maybe average to subpar sort of quality of what you were expecting, something on the level of Witch Queen, of course. I mean, I was the same way. I invested inside of the Lightfall expansion because I wanted to play through the campaign with like that campaign and stuff with my friends, which I did. But at the same time, after I was done with it and saw what it was, which was basically an average at best, sort of like cliched sort of story thing with elements that were mixed with like new characters I didn't give a shit about, it really didn't encourage me to want to play on with this case and scenario. But another aspect for Bungie right now, it's like because they end up firing a lot of their long-term employees. I mean, their freaking composer that's been around for like say 25 years in that
Yeah,
company,
the lady
just
that created the Halo logo was laid off.
the lady that created the Halo logo, even like some of the PR people, like say Liana Rupert, someone that that had been working inside of Bungie, finally getting a lot of stuff in like the games industry and stuff, and finally getting their shot and stuff that, and like say, I think some of the PR stuff, I think it was, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I can't
a lot of
remember it
PR staff, which
exactly.
is kind of what, unfortunately, is what when these layoffs happen. It's usually the PR staff and like the communication people that are the first ones gone. So
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you're someone that's been working at Bungie for a long time, or even like for good solid things, and like you're pitching these ideas of, hey, you want to get things like improve things, but yet the management is not even not allowing these not allowing these like ideas to flourish, but institutionally just saying no and keeping things as it is, so that way they could just suck all this various money out of their fan base and stuff, because they know they could just drip feed all this shit and stuff, and they still would get the same if not more profits by doing all these monetizations, taking out content, and then try to repurpose certain weapons or certain things to where now you're paying for even more stuff, or like say cosmetic stuff. But even if it's not cosmetic stuff, if you even want to attend like some of these seasonal sort of things, you have to pay at minimum $10 on top of all of this other stuff. But when it comes to like say advertising for their next expansion, they're going to do what they have been doing the past couple of things, to where you will have to be either shoehorned to get the most expensive expansion, like the deluxe or whatever, pay like over $100 for not only getting the expansion stuff, but like certain dungeons will be attached to just this one version of it. I mean, you'll be missing out on things if, like, say you just get the baseline stuff. It's just nickel and diming certain things, to where when Budgie saw how successful it was when they sold certain expansion content, but yet they could just separate the freaking dungeon, like a new dungeon, out of this away from the expansion. Literally taking out levels and taking out certain guns unless you buy the most expensive thing. I mean, yeah, it's basically a combination of all sorts of factors that have led to what we have currently right now. Is the Destiny 2 community has is now at the lowest point since the game has launched. Really. That's what the morale kind of feels like to me. Of course, there'll be the diehards, they'll want to keep playing, they'll want to keep spending their money and do this and do that. But at the same time, we're looking at the wall here, which is this is a 7-year-old live service game. People have spent so much time, so much money, and so much investment over this game and these characters and stuff. And now, when you have what happened this past week happen, it puts into question not just the future, but it also puts into question of, do I even want to even power on like play Destiny 2 even if the expansion goes through and comes out? Because I'll tell you what, I ain't gonna pre-order this shit. I ain't gonna go through and do, and this, I'm just talking for myself. I'm not talking for like say the majority
yeah,
of the community, but what I'm saying is it doesn't prompt me to want to pre-order this. This doesn't prompt me wanting to get this thing at launch, because I do not trust what the management at Bungie is doing with this. I do not expect this game to be for the community at heart. I expect this to be a freaking like dumpster fire. But rest assured, though, it's like I feel sympathy for the people that lost their jobs,
yeah.
especially the long tenured and like Bungie employees that have been there since like the original Halo, like have done everything they can to help the community, to help people go through and do this stuff, like for their jobs and stuff. I mean, this hits close to home too, because Dead like Bungie is inside of like that whole area, like oh god, either Bellingham, Washington, or some of
Oh
that
wow,
sort, or
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
yeah, it's inside of the state I live in. So it's like, God, I would be getting like emails and stuff like that, just do like play testing thing as far back as like say the original Destiny and stuff,
hmm.
but I never did that stuff, because for one, it's like getting to that place is like kind of difficult, but at the same point, it's like never really thought much of it. But yeah, it's just a horrible situation all the ways around and stuff. And I just hope that on a positive note, that for Destiny 2, maybe, who knows, maybe the final shape will be a decent expansion. I mean, I hope it is for the
Yeah,
sake of the long-term people, but at this point in time, I feel like I'm pretty much out of like Destiny 2 right at this moment, because I've spent literally over like 500 hours on this one game across two different systems. Not to mention what I spent in regards to the time on the original Destiny on PS4.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope yeah it sucks. I hope those people can land on their feet. It's we've been seeing it's just it seems like every week there's at least one mass layoff in video games. Um, so yeah, hopefully they're able to land on their feet and get something out there and
Yes.
get a new job and hopefully they're it's bullshit too on top of it where they laid everybody off on the 30th and their employee benefits ended on the first.
Yep.
So like if they have any medical needs or anything like that, like you know they didn't even give them like you know, lay them off. You couldn't wait 2 days and then lay them off. At least give them a month of they could go to the doctor or re up on
Exactly.
prescriptions or anything they needed to do. Shit like that just pisses me off. It's bullshit. Um, Unfortunately, when in our society, the people that up top that fuck up the hardest never have to. You rarely have to pay for the crimes of what they do. It's usually people like us that pay that price, and when they do eventually pay the price, they get tens of millions of dollars to go away. So um, it's a unfortunate, sad part of the business, I guess. But yeah,
Yes.
hopefully they land our feet, and I hope that Destiny 2 for the fans and for the employees that work there, for the morale and everything, because yeah, like I said, morale is probably at all time low for fans and probably more importantly the employees that work there. They got to keep going back to work and keep working after all that. And I've been there. It's depressing and stressful to do that.
Yes.
So I hope they're able to hope for everybody's sake it works out in the end for fans and employees, um, like and former employees. But yeah. But I think that will actually wrap it up this time for us.
Yes. Yes.
It's getting pretty late. I'm getting very tired. My voice is going. But thank you guys so much for watching, liking the show. Whatever we can do, 5-star reviews, leave a review. Um, like hit the like button, share with people. Share is probably the best thing you could do for us. But yeah, tell your friends about us. Go to Apple Podcasts, whatever podcasts are on. Go there, please. Look for us, Drunk Nerds, Drunk-Nerds. You'll find us. Same thing with YouTube. Please go there, subscribe. Also, Twitter and Facebook are on there as well. So do all that stuff for us. We appreciate it. I was your host. I was Tyler.
I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, have yourself a fun week and play some fun games.
And hey, Gables.
Yes.
Let's get some fucking sleep.
Yeah, let's just get some sleep,
Yeah.
dude. I mean,
Yeah. Bye, guys.
see ya.